spring break, almost here. Whether you're traveling to Mexico, Canada, alternate spring break, or traveling somewhere in the future like this summer. These are some helpful tips to get around in foreign places, which is twice as hard for people like me who are directionally dyslexic. Real thing, look it up, it's awful. Anyway, I always try to know the language of the country I'm traveling in, and if I don't, at minimum, I try to learn how to say, do you speak English or another language I know in their native language. And when you do that, that connects you with people, and they tend to be a lot more receptive and a lot nicer than if you just approach them in English or another language you know that's not the native language of the country. So after you find someone who does speak English, you can get directions, and I've always had phenomenal results when I ask them for directions. I've even had people walk me to my destination even though it wasn't their destination and expect nothing in return, which is completely ridiculous. And when you're asking for help or anything else, whether it's at home or in a foreign place, always remember you get what you give. So if you act nice and you're on their level and you don't act like you're superior to them for whatever reason, you will tend to get fantastic directions and people who treat you really well. Whereas if you're a shitty person, you're really rude, or you act superior, or you just speak to them in your language and assume that they know it and act like, why don't you know my language? You're going to probably get awful directions, end up in the wrong part of town, end up in a bad part of town. So if you're one of those people that are not the greatest people on earth, you probably don't want to ask people for directions or anything else. And as Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you may end up somewhere else.